You have queued up the Roulette Tapes, a program of adventurous music and conversation recorded at the New York City Concert Hall, Roulette. You can hear thousands of concert recordings from Roulette's past and present and find news of upcoming events celebrating innovation and imagination at roulette.org. Aren't you curious?
Welcome to another edition of the Roulette Tapes. I'm Susan James. Pianist Vicky Chow highlights the work of both established and emerging new music composers in a career that started with classical piano studies in childhood. And today we'll hear clips of some of her many Roulette performances. She discusses her history as a pianist and lends her commentary as we hear excerpts of compositions by Cassie Wieland, Jane Antonia Cornish, and David Lane, recorded at Roulette. Vicky brings her talent to a collaboration with artist and composer Tristan Perich for a performance of his work, Surface Image, taking place this month in New York's Bryant Park, co-sponsored by Roulette. We'll hear a clip of the 2013 performance of that work. We start off with an excerpt from Vicky's concert presentation of Philip Glass's Etudes, Book 2. Here's Vicky Chow.
I'm pianist Vicky Chow. I'm a contemporary classical pianist based in Brooklyn, New York. I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada. So I started the piano at the age of 5. And I took to it. And when I was 7, I played my first concerto. I was doing the Haydn piano concerto. And then when I was 8, I did the Ravel concerto. And, during that time, my teachers entered me into a lot of local piano competitions as a way to get me to, practice and get experience performing in public. One of those competitions is like a national Canadian competition called the Canadian Music Competition. I don't know if it's still happening or not, but one of the things in the finals is that you play there's like 2 rounds. You play solo things, and then when you get into the finals, it's usually in like a different city each year. And I did it when I was 7, 8, and 9, and then when I was 10, the finals was held in Vancouver in Canada. And that year I had won like my age category, because you would go and enter the competition 10 and under, 12 and under, and then all the way up to people in their 20s. And that year I was 10. I won my category, and overall in the competition they can nominate the winners from each category to perform the concerto that they used in the competition with the orchestra. And that year I actually was nominated, and I got to make my like orchestral debut in the gala concert. So I did the Prokofiev piano concerto, just the first movement, the C major. So that was really great because I was, it was also my hometown, all my family came. It was really, really wonderful. And that kind of began my relationship with the VSO. And each year I got to play with them growing up in high school. I was really headed into the very classical road. I imagined myself performing concertos and doing recitals. And I knew, since I was a young girl, that I wanted to become a pianist, and my parents were very, very supportive of that. Yeah, so I set my sights to go to Juilliard because that's, where my teacher told me that I should go. And so I auditioned and I got into Juilliard. And in 2001, I moved to New York City to start my studies there. And actually, a few years before I moved to New York, I actually started becoming a little bit, I guess there's no other way to say it, but I was a little bit bored with the classical repertoire. And that continued during my studies at Juilliard. I did my bachelor's and my master's at Juilliard. I was just becoming very discontent with the repertoire that I was playing. Everyone that I knew studying at school, we were all playing the same music. I was starting to not feel so connected to the music that I was playing, and I was unhappy. I was not happy, but I didn't want to give up music. I know my life is supposed to be in music, and I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of went with the flow, and I did my master's, I did my, but during my master's is when I discovered performing contemporary music. I had a friend there who's a composer. His name is Joe Tien. He saw me in the elevator one day and he was like, "Oh, Vicky, can you please help me? I have a concert of my music next week and the pianist backed out. Can you play it?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll help you out. I'm your friend." And up until that point, I've never really done anything new before. I studied the classics. And when I opened up the score to his music, I was blown away by just this whole new universe that I had not known. This whole nother language, this whole other sound world, uses of different techniques, different notation. And I was totally in love. I was like, wow, this is great. I was excited about making music again because for several years I was really bored and unhappy. And that really sparked my passion for music again. And, from that point on, I was like, okay, I really want to do a lot more of this. So I joined the new music ensemble at Juilliard and tried to play as much new music as I could. It was during that time, as I was about to graduate my last year, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Everyone I knew was applying for DMA or artist diploma, or, they're going down that route. Everyone was just kind of going down that path. And I was like, but I knew I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do a DMA. I wanted to do contemporary music. I wanted to go perform, out in the world. And just so happened that year, the Manhattan School of Music started their contemporary performance program. So I applied, and I actually ended up canceling all my other auditions for DMA because I realized, like, there's no point in auditioning for these programs when even if I got in, like, I know I don't want to do it. So I canceled, and the only place I auditioned was Manhattan School for the contemporary program. And I got in, and that was 2007. And so I basically just jumped in the deep end, and I never looked back to the traditional repertoire ever since. And there I met a lot of my friends, my longtime friends and colleagues, many who are thriving in the new music scene. And I guess the rest is history. It was also when I was at Manhattan School during my second year, or end of my first year, 2008. So I heard about Bang on a Can holding auditions for the piano position for the Bang on a Can All-Stars, and it was great because I knew that's the type of music that I wanted to play. I remember being in class and they were showing music from different New York ensembles, new music ensembles, and one of them, they showed Bang on a Can All-Stars, and there was a recording of them performing Tandun Concerto for Six. And I remember hearing that, and I'm like, oh wow, like it kind of blew my mind away. I've never heard any music like that before, And so I was very excited. I sent in my application, and I went in for an audition, and it was the most fun I ever had at an audition because I actually got to sit in and play with everyone, like all the excerpts that they said that I should prepare. And then a few months after that, they asked me to join them for a concert in New York. It was part of their People's Commissioning Fund concert where they commission 3 or 4 composers and premiere it at Merkin Hall. And I did the concert. I thought it went great, and then I didn't hear from them for 6 months. I guess they were looking, playing with other pianists and checking other candidates out. 6 months after that, they asked me to go on tour with them to China. So we went to Beijing and Shanghai, and we did, some performances. And soon after that, they officially invited me to join the Bang on a Can All-Stars, and that was the end of 2009. So I've been the pianist for the Bang on a Can All-Stars for the past 16 years. And we travel the world performing music of the founders, the artistic directors, Michael Gordon, David Lang, and Julia Wolf. But we also commission other artists and composers, and we perform their music too. We record, and it's a big part of my life. Yeah, so on September 11th at Bryant Park, I'll be performing Surface Image by artist-composer Tristan Perich. This is a work that I premiered at Roulette back in 2013, and I recorded it and released it on the New Amsterdam Records label. And since then, I've toured it around the world, and I'm very excited for this particular performance because I haven't played this piece since November of 2019. My last performance of it was in Barcelona. Because, we had a pandemic, it hasn't been programmed. So this would be the first performance since that time. And it's really nice to revisit it because it's a work that I absolutely love. I love Tristan's music, and I have such a thrill performing it each time. And it is in line with kind of my mission to continue, expanding the piano repertoire, over the years alongside my work with the Bang on Account All-Stars. I've continued a solo career. I've commissioned composers to write for me. A lot of times works with electronics. And with this, it's particularly interesting because Tristan works with 1-bit electronics, which is very different than just like a, processing, live processing, or a playback. Yeah, so over the years, like every project that I've done has usually been presented at Roulette, like 99% of the time, starting with the Surface Image, and then over the years I've also done other works like the Philip Glass Piano Etudes Book 1 and Book 2. I commissioned Cassie Wieland to write a piece for me, and we did that at Roulette during the pandemic. It was scheduled to be performed when the pandemic hit, and so what happened eventually was we live streamed the premiere. There was no one in the audience, but we did it at Roulette. I also performed, there was another project by Jane Antonia Cornish titled Sierra, and these are all album release concerts, actually. And it's an album's worth of piano music with multiple piano tracks, like all layered piano, and I recorded all the different layers. And it's also with a video. Roulette is basically my home. It's where I feel most comfortable and inspired to present all the work that I am making. And I look forward to continuing to present my work there.
You've been listening to performances by pianist Vicky Chow, recorded live at Roulette. The full concerts can be heard on our website at roulette.org/archive. The Roulette Tapes is a part of the Roulette Concert Archives, a project made possible in part with support from the Destina Foundation and the generous support of Roulette Intermedium's membership. David Weinstein is Roulette's Director of Special Projects and Senior Producer of the Roulette Tapes. I'm Susan James. Thanks for listening.
You have been listening to the Roulette Tapes, a program of adventurous music and conversation. This series is produced by Roulette Intermedium. You can find thousands of concert recordings from Roulette's archives and news of upcoming events at roulette.org.